Hello everyone, back in today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's second video. So day 10 is going to take us around 28th of August, so we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. So we'll have a look at CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, which will take us into the second half of September, of course. So the ECM 30-day look ahead for UK and for the rest of Europe as well has been released as the first video up today. So yes, we're looking at temperature and rainfall anomalies for the next 4 weeks in that. Some quite interesting weather on the way for the rest of August and into September. Have a look at the ECM WF 30-day look ahead for more about that. Weeks 5 and 6 temperature and rainfall anomalies will be showing up in our live stream. And that's going to be available for you to watch tomorrow from 6 o'clock in the evening. That will be our next scheduled live stream. Just say that the third and final video today is going to be having a look at the bank holiday weekend. Yes, we have got another bank holiday coming into view. The late summer bank holiday weekend will be just under 2 weeks away now. 2 weeks yesterday. That's going to be the 31st of August. So we'll have a look at that for today's third and final video update. That'll be with you tonight. Right, let's get on with it then. I'm going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. So things are developing further in the tropical Atlantic. We have a yellow X and we have a red X. Two disturbance areas. Let's deal with the yellow X first of all. That one just there. That's disturbance 1 with a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours, but a 60% chance of cyclone formation in the next 5 days. With that one, they're saying a tropical wave over the eastern Caribbean Sea is producing an area of disorganised thunderstorms and gusty winds. Significant development of this system is unlikely during the next couple of days while it moves quickly westward at about 20 miles per hour across the eastern and central Caribbean Sea. After that time, however, the wave is forecast to move more slowly westward and a tropical depression could form late this week or this weekend when it reaches the northwestern Caribbean Sea. So disturbance 1 could become a significant feature by the weekend. And then, of course, we've got this red X just here. You know, on these charts, red generally means trouble. So this one is disturbance 2. Has a 70% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days. And a 90% chance, almost a certain chance, of becoming a tropical cyclone within the next 5 days. With this one, they're saying a broad area of low pressure located about 900 miles west-southwest of Cabo Verde Islands is producing a concentrated area of showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are conducive for further development, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next couple of days while the system moves westward to west-northwestwards at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the central and western portions of the tropical Atlantic. So by the weekend, it is possible we will have 2 tropical storms, who knows, maybe even 2 hurricanes going on by this weekend. So yes, things definitely continuing to ramp up. Things are definitely ramping up in the tropical Atlantic as we move ever further towards like peak hurricane season, which is always September to the beginning of October. All eyes will be on the tropics in the coming days. I'm quite sure about that. Now, yesterday we was going to have quite significant weather at home over the next few days. Going to have a proper spell of wet and windy weather. Some of the weather that we've got coming up in the next few days is going to be at least partly driven in by the remains of Tropical Storm Gale. And in yesterday's video, I sort of posed him a question about what is the deepest ever recorded low pressure in the North Atlantic in the month of August. in our part of North Atlantic, anyway. And my good friend Shryan Bruin has answered this. So Shryan tells me that the deepest area of low pressure recorded around the UK in August was actually back in 1959, on the 14th of August. This depression just here, this one just there, very ominous looking depression, gave a pressure reading of 967 millibars. That is a record area, a record low area of low pressure, record low reading for pressure in the UK in the month of August back in 1959. Now, what's really bizarre about that, of course, is that 1959 is actually a very good extended summer with loads of hot weather throughout the summer, very warm weather, consistently warm and dry. Really, the summer started in the spring, actually. It got going like in April and May, and it was still going on in September and even into October. It wasn't until like late October 1959 that the summer finally ended, and we went into a proper autumnal, wet and windy type pattern for November and for December 1959. But most of the summer of 1959, starting very early, finishing very late, was high pressure dominated, dry, warm, often very warm, sometimes hot, and proper dry weather. So how bizarre! But in the middle of that, we actually get our lowest pressure reading in the month of August. So just going to show you how the weather can always be doing something to shock us and surprise us. But yeah, 1959 at 967 millibars is the lowest pressure that we've recorded in the month of August. Could we beat that this week? Probably not, but we certainly have got some very low pressure to come, and we certainly have got some very significant weather impacts to come as well. So at the UK Met Office here, these are the weather warnings from the UK Met Office. We've got warnings for today, tomorrow and for Thursday. Let's deal with today's warning first of all. So this one is for rain. We've got heavy rain across Scotland and down to the far north of England. Valley from 1 o'clock this afternoon to 9 o'clock tonight. Heavy showers expected on Tuesday afternoon, may bring some disruption. So showers along with spells of rain really in the north, and further south, scattered thundery showers and thunderstorms again. This is the last day of like this sort of thundery weather that we've been having since the breakdown of the heat wave last week, though. From tomorrow, we're going to be in a very different air mass, much more of an Atlantic-driven type air mass. We've got a warning for Wednesday as well. This one is for wind. Look at this, wind warning for Wednesday, for tomorrow. Let's zoom in on that one. So this one is for the west. It's going to be for southwestern parts of England. It's going to be for the west and north and northwest of Wales. It's going to be for Irish Sea coast of northwestern England and southwest Scotland. It's also going to be for Northern Ireland as well. It's valid from 8 o'clock in the evening tomorrow, 8 o'clock Wednesday evening, through to, I think that looks like midnight Thursday. So they're saying strong winds are expected to cause some disruption to travel and power supplies on Thursday. So this begins like late Wednesday and will be at its worst through Thursday. In fact, we can have a look at Thursday's warning as well. So you see it's in exactly the same position. So it begins like 8 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, this warning, and goes through to the end of Thursday. I think gusts up to 50, 60 miles per hour are possible up the western side, around those Irish Sea coasts, particularly sort of western North Wales, southwest Scotland, and probably Northern Ireland as well. Southwest England maybe a little bit less so, but in there, sort of 30, 40 mile an hour gusts. But yeah, I think we're definitely looking at 50, 60 mile an hour gusts up the Irish Sea coast, and significant blow, therefore, significant blow in the west. The trees are in full leaf, and so we can expect some disruption, I think, with trees being felled and branches coming down with these winds in the west. It's going to be very windy everywhere, actually, from late Wednesday into Thursday, and also on into Friday as well, probably. Most places are going to have quite a blow, but it's out in the west where we are going up to gale force, I think, with the gusts. We'll be up to gale force with the gusts around those Irish Sea coasts. So if you're in the west, batten down the hatches. Right, these are the GFS upper temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks for London from Old West Essential. The red line is 30-year upper air temperature average. We're starting off close to average at the moment. We're going to see a temperature lifting up. Temperature is going to lift up in the next couple of days, but that's associated with this big area of low pressure. It does contain the remains, or some of this low pressure, because it's around 3 areas of low pressure that are actually going to amalgamate into just one big area of low pressure by Friday. So it's a very complex setup. But one of those individual 3 low pressure areas contains the remains of Tropical Storm Gale. And so because it's got tropical elements within it, we are going to see the temperatures lifting up. Now, in fact, Thursday could be a very warm day, despite being really windy from most places. It could be a very warm day over in the eastern side of the country. The temperatures into the mid-20s Celsius. I mean, nothing at all like the heat that we had last week, into the mid to like nearly upper 30 Celsius. It won't be anywhere near as intense hot as that. But Thursday will be quite a warm day, despite also being quite a windy day, so that's going to be quite unusual. But then after that, we're going to see the temperatures sliding away, and as we go through into weekend, the early part of next week, we're actually cooler than average, and these cool conditions may extend through the closing days of August and into the beginning of September. Just a few signs as we get towards the start of September. We might be starting to see some hot outliers appearing. So you'll notice this gold run up here, that is a very, very hot GFS ensemble member, going up to 20 degrees at 850 HPA. But probably if it came off, it's an outlier, no other ensemble member is doing that, but if that came off, that would probably get the temperature back to the mid-30s Celsius at the end of August. Generally, many of these ensemble members right at the very end are lifting up to like above 10 degrees at 850 HPA, but not going as anywhere near as intensely hot as that. It can get extremely hot at the beginning of September. We did it in 1906. In the start of September 1906, we did record 35 degrees on the first day of September 1906 with the 20 Celsius isotherm moving up from France. So despite like being in the beginning of September, it can sometimes be very, very hot. But of course, that's all really extended range stuff. It's unreliable time frame stuff, really unreliable time frame stuff. And so we just have to wait and see on that. But generally, overall, like sort of from the weekend through next week, does look quite cool. Precipitation-wise, we've got quite a bit of rain to come with this area of low pressure from Wednesday through to Thursday. Quite an active band of rain will come through. Then we sort of go a bit showery. And then next week it probably turns more unsettled, if anything. Right, temperature anomalies from the 18th, 26th of August, going to be slightly warmer than average. We have had hotter through this month. 18th to the 26th of August with precipitation anomalies rather on the wetter than average side. Most places having above average rainfall. So that's how the latest wind flow map is looking from earthnullschool.net. So low pressure is closing in, basically. You can see what's going on here. So we are still within these sort of slack wind flows that we have been in since the end of the heat wave, and so we've still got one last sort of day where we are continuing to cool down the atmosphere, and that involves risk of thunder. But look out into the Atlantic. Look at everything that's going on in the Atlantic. We've got low pressure just there. We've got a low pressure area just there. We have another area of low pressure just there, and if that wasn't enough, we've got another area of low pressure there just coming out of Newfoundland. So these 3 areas of low pressure, well, we're not going to see that one for a little while, but these 3 areas of low pressure just here are going to amalgamate through the second half of the week, and by Friday will form one large area of low pressure somewhere around there. And so we'll be keeping a close eye on these wind flow maps in the coming days. But yes, it's really going on in the Atlantic, and we will start to feel the force of that from tomorrow. This is how the UK Met Office midnight run is looking for midnight on Friday. Deep area of low pressure to west of Ireland. Minimum central pressure with that. That's a 980 millibar line just there. That's 975 just there. So minimum central pressure with this going down to 970. The record in August is 967. So we we are not all that far from a record-breakingly deep area of low pressure there for August on midnight on Friday, with that one big area of low pressure churning away to the west of the country. Obviously, it will bring strong winds, as we know. We've got weather warnings enforced by the UK Met, strong winds for the west, and also heavy showers and longer spells of rain. Into Saturday, so on Sunday, yes, unsettled, low pressure moving up towards Norway. We lose the worst of those winds, of course. Things do calm down over the weekend, but generally looking quite cool and showery. As winds turning to the northwest, it will actually be pretty cool. Into the early part of next week, we're going to get more areas of low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic by the look of it as far as we go with the UK Met to Monday 24th of August. We are actually on a slight transient ridge here, slight little transient bump. We've got more low pressure downstream, and so any low pressure will quickly be flattened off as that low moves in from the Atlantic. Let's see how the GFS is looking. It's 6Z GFS. Again, very deep area of low pressure out to our west. Not quite as deep as UK Met, I don't think. That's 985, that's 980, that's 975 at its centre, 975 millibars. Very unusually deep area of low pressure mode for August. And so we go through into weekend, again looking cool and showery. The low pressure moves up towards Norway, so we lose the worst of winds, but it will be cool. Winds are in from the northwest, and it will be showery over the weekend too. Into the early part of next week, unsettled really. More low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. That will bring further bouts of rain through the early part of next week too. Temperatures will be quite cool. By day 10, which gets us to Friday 28th of August, that low pressure clearing away to the east, returning wind into the north. Ridge is beginning to build out to our west as well, so it's turning cool as we go through to day 10 on this GFS run with winds in from the north and still pretty showery. Heading into the end of August, and this takes into Bank Holiday weekend, of course. We're going to do our next Bank Holiday update for you tonight. We try and build a ridge up from the Azores. This is the Azores high trying to build up from the southwest, but we've still got quite an active jet stream, actually. And so what happens is that another area of low pressure deepens to the north of Scotland, brings us another spell of really quite cool and windy, showery weather for the first day of September. And as far as we can go with this GFS run is to Thursday, the 3rd of September, when we are still looking pretty cool and showery. Winds are in from the northwest. A high pressure, the Azores high, wants to build in, but is not at this point able to do so. So we are left in a cool and showery northwesterly wind. That's all like 2 weeks away, so very, very extended range stuff. We know that there are several members within the GFS ensembles that are actually looking really quite hot for early September. GM looks like this. So again, wet and windy over the into weekends. This is Friday. Again, not quite as deep with the low pressure as the UK Met in particular is showing, going down to 980 millibars at its core, but that is still very low pressure for August. Into weekend, cool and showery conditions. Early next week, not as unsettled with the GM, not as unsettled with GM as the GFS. We actually build up a little bit of a ridge from the southwest. Then low pressure tries moving around the middle of next week, but always high pressure influences down to the south and southwest could keep England and Wales mainly dry and reasonably warm actually through next week, whereas further northwest it does look rather more unsettled up there. And then finally we've got the ECMWF. This is another one with a very, very deep area of low pressure, so that's the 980 millibar line just there. Let's see if I can highlight this. That's the this is the 985 millibar line just here. This is the 980 millibar line just here. That one is a 975 millibar line. This is 970, and there are a couple of lines in the middle of that, actually, a couple of circulates in the middle of that, but we'll probably go down to 965 millibars. So that could actually be a record-breakingly deep area of low pressure there. That is getting really, really close to breaking the record for low pressure in August with the ECM. We shall see if we set a record, but it's certainly going to be very, very blowy and very disturbed at the end of this week for sure. Into the weekend, we will lose the worst of winds over the weekend, but it's going to remain cool and showery right the way through the weekend. And then on into next week, again, we tried to build up a little bit of high pressure to our south, but with the ECM, actually it's low pressure really that's in the ascendancy here. Until late on anyway, it does look as though we're starting to build some ridging to our east, though still an area of low pressures out to our west. But I think by day 10, the ECM is possibly trying to set up something a little bit drier and a little bit warmer. Rainfall forecast based on that ECM run from Tameteo.com looks like there's plenty of showers. You notice the heaviest one's actually in the north today. The most widespread and wettest weather up in the northern half of the country today. Tomorrow we change the air mass. We start to push up rain from the south. This is heavy rain as well, moving northwards across the country tomorrow, across England and Wales anyway. Proper old wet day of it tomorrow for England and Wales. Will be quite cool as well. Then going to Thursday, we've got this low pressure deepening like mad just to the west of Ireland. So that's bringing like gale force winds up the western side of the country through Thursday. It will be quite a warm day though on Thursday for central and east end. It will be quite warm there, but also pretty windy. Then we go through into the end of the week, and again we're just seeing low pressure continuing to churn in from off the Atlantic, bringing further showers into the northwest. We do lose the worst of the winds, however. We go through into next week with further showers or longer spells of rain coming or going later on, possibly going into something a little bit drier by day 10. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensemble today for day 10, which is going to get us to the 28th of August. Have 25 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure over to the northern country. They're going to be cool and unsettled, bringing winds from the west. 17, trying to raise some high pressure up towards Iceland, turn us a little bit drier as low pressure exits away to our east. That does include the operational run as well, interestingly. And then let's get rid of that red line. We also have 9 just here with a trough of low pressure right over top of the country and a mid-Atlantic ridge. That's probably the coolest, wettest option for day 10. Then that's getting perilously close to bank holiday weekend as well. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This is the beginning of September, 2nd of September. Actually, have 15 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to our north, and we're bringing in winds from the west. 11 with low pressure to our northwest. Again, we're bringing in winds from the west. This also has a northern blocking signal, by the way, has above average heights in the Norwegian Sea. 8 with an area of high pressure sitting just over to the east of the country. 7 with high pressure over to the northeast. That's going to be a dry and warm arc. Shall be bringing in winds from an easterly direction. Another 7 with high pressure over and slight to the south of the country. Low pressure jetting further north. That's going to be pretty dry and warm. 3 with high pressure just out to the northwest. Low pressure to our east. Again, reasonably dry with that one, but probably quite cool as winds coming in from a north to northeasterly direction. A lot of different options, but it does look as though the ECM ensembles could be moving more towards high pressure by the beginning of September. And obviously the position of the high pressure, where the high pressure sits, will be important in determining whether it's a very warm start to September or whether it's a relatively cool start to September. And then finally, we've got the CFSV2. These are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes from the 18th to 24th of August. The coming week, we have below average heights out to our west. Low pressure is dominating the weather coming in from off the Atlantic. So yes, it looks unsettled. This week for week 1 with low pressure dominating. Week 2 also looks quite unsettled. This is 25th of August, 31st. Again, low pressure in off the Atlantic. Jet stream coming in from the west as well. That one also looking rather cool and rather showery too. All change for week 3. This is the 1st to the 7th of September. Above average heights, high pressure takes over to our east, northeast, and also ridge extending through the UK. So jet streams being pushed northwards, turning drier and warmer for the first week of September. And then week 4, which is the 8th to the 14th of September. Again, high pressure sitting just to our east. Winds are in from the east. Should be mostly dry and warm, possibly very warm even there for the second week of September. That's 2 CFS runs consecutive, yesterday and today's, but are going for a return of summer for the early part of September. Okay, that's it then. So that's how it's looking. It's going to be remaining unsettled for the time being. So we've got this very wet and windy stuff coming up through to the end of this week. Although we'll have quite a warm day on Thursday. Don't be caught out by that. East areas will be warm but windy on Thursday. But it all goes downhill rather for Friday and into the weekend. Next week looking cool and unsettled as well for much of the time. Possibly a few hints that it turns drier and warmer for the beginning of September, but it's a very, very, very long way off, so we shall see about that. We're going to be back later on having a detailed look at Bank Holiday weekend. That's going to be up after 7 o'clock tonight, so come back for that then. For this video, though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.